All right, let's talk about Dillon Gabriel, who unfortunately is kind of known for being the guy who was drafted by the Browns ahead of Shedeur Sanders. But, hey, he's his own prospect. He should be treated as such, right? So let's get into the film and talk about just how he played. And then ultimately, does he have a chance to move up in the depth chart, try to get us, some starting time in an actual, regular season NFL game? Let's get into it. This started off amazing, quite frankly, by Dillon Gabriel. It's like this first play, it's going to be man coverage. You see how when he takes the snap, there appears to be some pressure coming towards the outside. The offensive line actually has it covered a little bit better than you might realize, but Gabriel wants to make sure he can get around, away from the pressure. You're going to see him kind of slide up in the pocket a little bit. Then he makes this throw. They're able to pick up a completion there. That's, good stuff. Again, I'm not sure how exactly that player got wide open. I think there's maybe a miscommunication by Philadelphia, but hey, 3rd down and 10, getting a conversion. That's definitely something you like to see. This next play, I do feel like his pocket presence was really working. It really was. And, there's a difference between just being fast and having pocket presence, right? Knowing how to navigate the pocket is huge. And, when I made my draft evaluation, I kind of compared him to Gardner Minshew and how Minshew, when he first entered the league, he wasn't a first round pick, but he was able to kind of stick around because he was able to move well. And once you move well, that can kind of, help you be okay until you can figure out the rest of quarterbacking at the NFL level, essentially. Watch how when this play begins, you see that pressure off the edge. This looks dangerous. I mean, live, I'm like, well, he's about to lose the football right here, right? Except no, he steps up and then is able to step out, and he's able to, again, ultimately decide it's not worth getting hit in the preseason, only gains a couple yards. But, I mean, there were yards to be taken that he was able to take, and he didn't get hit as well and kept his eyes downfield. I think if something was open, he would have thrown it. So, this is good stuff. And, what I said, hey, being able to do this can help you until you figure out the rest of quarterbacking. Well, it seems like he kind of has figured out the rest of quarterbacking a little bit. Like, let's go over to some of these passing plays, which were just really impressive, especially on 3rd downs. It's a 3rd down and 5 right here. You see this route going up towards the 1st down marker towards the top of the screen. Gabriel takes a snap, and this doesn't look that open at first, right? And there's pressure, so he kind of has to throw this a little more off balance, and that's something I always look towards with young quarterbacks. In college, the pocket's usually a lot better. In the NFL, you often have to kind of make these throws while a bit wobbly. But look at this accuracy. I mean, that is, talk about a mailbox type throw, right? There is not a lot of room for error on a play like that. You have to be pretty accurate, and he was very accurate, and that's one thing that I was really impressed with watching him play. This next one, another 3rd down and 2. This wasn't even the accuracy part that impressed me. So it's going to be a man coverage play. A safety is going to ultimately come down and cover the halfback eventually on this play. But that's not where Gabriel's going to start off looking. Watch how when he takes the snap, he looks up in that direction, but the halfback is where you want to throw to, right? That's where you want this ball to go. Look at how quickly he's going to throw it once he realizes that that's open. I mean, watch how well he made that work. I almost wonder if he was always going to throw to the halfback and he just decided to look off to try and make sure nobody read it, and the linebacker who's covering the middle of the field wasn't able to get over and make that play. I'm not going to say that's for sure what happened because I can't see it, but that's certainly possible. Either way, very impressive play. So, yeah, that was good. And honestly, there was just a string of really good plays from Dillon Gabriel. We can do a quick montage of them right here. You see, this one, just, hey, reading the play, getting the ball quickly to the right guy. You have this one, which is going to be where he really fits that through a tight window and gets there quickly, too, to make that conversion. 3rd down and 4 here. You see that, well, again, really accurate throw while not having a perfectly clean pocket. This one, another, again, not the most tight window, but still a good play. And then we got to go over here. So he's playing awesome. Things are going great. And I'm sitting here wondering, do we just need to make him the week 1 starter? I legitimately had that thought because, he seems to be doing pretty good. He seems to have a handle on this. And hey, Joe Flacco isn't a bad quarterback by any stretch of the imagination, but he's an older quarterback. If you can get similar play with a younger guy, well, let's see what the younger guy can do, right? Well, then this would happen, and we'll talk about it. So it was a rollout. You see there's two receivers who are kind of, not running this route particularly well. You don't want to be this close to each other. Anytime that happens, receivers are not doing what you ideally want them to do. I'm going to cut over to this other angle. It shows what's happening a little better. But you see right here, so that player, number 86, is where Gabriel wants to throw. And you kind of see why, right? There's a little bit of a window. The issue is because these receivers ran so close, you have Andrew Makuba, the safety, he is kind of behind the player who I have circled. So you have to be mindful of him now too. But honestly, 86 for Cleveland really almost just lets that one go by him. Like, does not fight for that. And you got to at least get your hands on it. Honestly, that's probably one you have to catch. So ultimately, still not a smart decision by Gabriel. There's too much traffic there, and it's not worth the risk there to gain like 7 yards on first down. Like, it's just not. But ultimately, I also have a hard time crushing him for it because it was a pick 6. But then once that happens, it's like, okay, is this going to affect his confidence maybe? He very quickly after had this play, which was going to be a missed screen pass. He just overthrew it. That, not something that he was doing before this of missing throws. And you saw his body language. He looked frustrated. And so I got a little bit concerned at this point. I will say he settled back in. Again, a couple more. This one, reading the play well. Ultimately, running this mesh concept, almost a rub route type thing, but knowing when to get it to the right player. This play is actually an incomplete pass, but look at that throw. I mean, that is beautiful ball placement. So, yeah, he was doing some nice things. We then got to go over here, though, once again. So this was a little bit later on. Now, it's going to be a running play, so why am I showing a running play? If it's a quarterback, well, usually you don't do this if it's a good play, because otherwise, why would you show it? You see here, it's going to be just a fumbled handoff. Once again, I don't know who to blame here. I'm going to show this and slow it down as best I can. It looks like Gabriel had to outstretch his arm a little bit more than you usually would like. It also still looks like the ball kind of got into that chest area, so I don't fully get what went wrong there or why that failed. So 2 turnovers. Also, Andrew Makuba got that one as well. He recovered the fumble, so he's having a good game. But ultimately, I have a hard time crushing Gabriel for either of these turnovers, but at the same time, you got to get on the same page here. And part of this is just the constant shuffling of first team, second team, third team, fourth team reps with all of these guys. It's difficult, and it's hard to get the chemistry. But ultimately, that can sometimes determine who gets the starting job and who doesn't, and who gets the backup job and who doesn't. It's simply just who doesn't make these errors, even if it's not your fault. Sometimes that's just kind of how people think, because maybe it is your fault and they don't want to take that chance. Also, another negative here, so a play you gotta make better. Ultimately, I definitely thought that you saw a lot more positives than negatives on a percentage basis from Gabriel, but this was maybe one of the lighter negatives. You see him getting outside the pocket here. It's 2nd and 10. And one of his teammates is turning around and blocking for him, and it's right in front of his face. Quite frankly, it's kind of something you got to notice. I also just think the right decision here is to run and pick up some yards. Now, it's a little conflicting because there's only 55 seconds left, and you do want to preserve the clock with only under a minute left in the half, but you have enough time. You have timeouts. I think running is the correct call here. Plus, you could probably run and still get out of bounds if you want to gain some yards and do it that way. Gabriel decides to dirt this one, I think, because, want to preserve the clock, and, there's a ton of yards there. But ultimately, because he did that, it now is a penalty because you had a player blocking downfield, and now this is pass interference, whereas if you run, it's not pass interference. That more or less just killed the drive, and they were still able to get a field goal, but kind of had no other chance from there. So definitely a mistake. Gotta just run there. If you're in that situation, that's usually what you want to do. Still made some good plays, though, down the stretch, including this one, which was just 20 seconds earlier. Nice play. Open receiver, but he hit him, in stride. Also, this one, another, really accurate throw that got them back in field goal range. So, yeah, some nice plays there. So, yeah, ultimately, I thought Dillon Gabriel played really well here. The mistakes are unfortunate because if you didn't have those mistakes, you're probably looking at this as a potential job-winning opportunity because of the mistakes that you can't. Flacco's the guy. You're still going to go with that. And I still don't know if this makes him jump Kenny Pickett, although I am more interested. And I don't think it's crazy to say that this could have him jump Kenny Pickett. I think this is a really good performance. I think this is what you're going to look at and actually be more optimistic than like a Shedeur Sanders performance from week 1, even though that's maybe not what some narratives would suggest, because he showed to me that he can run an offense at the NFL level. And like that's the important aspect for a backup quarterback, which is what he is right now, right? And what Shedeur Sanders is and what Kenny Pickett is. Those three guys are all just trying to earn the backup job. And so to me, I think Gabriel did show a lot, as did Sanders. I think both guys did well in their preseason performance. But yeah, that's what I think about all this. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.